You guys, so we're back with another video today. It's going to be like a kind of like a new series, but not really. I just got done recording. This is big news, so sorry for wearing the same shirt. I'm trying to record 2 videos at once from now on, just to get videos out more often. So, talk about the new series. I watch First Take, Get Up, ESPN, Good American Football every day. And there's some segments that they talk about, and I thought, why not? There's not much sports to talk about, so why not start doing that and take those topics that they talk about and talk about it on my channel for you guys. So, this one is who will be more effective, or who will start more, just who will be better off this year, Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles. Now, and here's my take on it. Nick Foles is an above-average quarterback who had a good supporting cast in 2017 to take them to the Super Bowl and win it. Mitchell Trubisky is a poor man's Russell Wilson who has the lack of accuracy and not the best deep ball, who just needs more time to develop. Sorry, I've been talking all day, making that video, and then this, so I'm kind of cotton-mouthed, and coffee is not the best way to replenish that. But anyway, it's completely different. It's like Mitchell Trubisky is a free agent at the end of the season because they declined his fifth-year option. Nick Foles has 2 more years left on his deal if they accept that option, paying him north of $21 million. And when the Bears are already in a cap situation like this, they cannot afford, they need every penny they can get. They can't afford that extra $1 million for Nick Foles to be a backup. So when you decline Mitchell Trubisky's fifth-year option, so he's a free agent after the end of the 2020 season, you have Nick Foles for 2 more years after this season, and you trade a 4th-round pick for him. You don't trade a 4th-round pick just to take on a salary. If anything, you get a 4th-round pick in return if you're taking on a salary. So, I think Nick Foles is not going to be the Week 1 starter, but he will start and he will win games. Matt Nagy came out and said that all the starters are going to play in the preseason because last year he sat down all the starters in the preseason and it backfired. Right off the gate, they struggled, they were sluggish, they didn't know how to take contacts, they were just really bad at the start of the regular season to show for it. So this year, in the complete opposite fashion, Matt Nagy is playing all of his starters in the preseason. So with that, you expect there to be no backup battle. Like there's going to be no Chase Daniel and none of those guys, like the 3rd or 4th string, they're not going to be playing. It's going to be Mitchell Trubisky versus Nick Foles in the preseason. And whoever has the better numbers, whoever maybe wins a game or 2, will start Week 1. And I think that'll be Mitchell Trubisky. I think Mitchell Trubisky is the better quarterback than Nick Foles, but the Bears are in win-now mode. Good running game, a decent O-line, decent below-average weapons, and a top 5 defense. And everyone wants to blame Mitchell Trubisky, but if you look at the numbers on the defensive side of the ball and running, the Bears got worse in every single category. Mitchell Trubisky, you can't blame him for everything. So I believe Mitchell Trubisky is a good quarterback. Not average, not elite, not above average. He is good. There's a difference. Like, he has the potential. He has all the potential in the world. Obviously, he was drafted at number 2 for a reason. But right now, he is not in the best situation. He's in a situation where he needs to develop over years upon years and needs time. The one thing the Bears don't have is time. They are winning now. A lot of their defense is aging. And their offensive line is aging. And they don't have the weapons on offense. So, yeah, I'm just fidgeting. If you guys are seeing like the charging cube is flying. But anyway, I believe Mitchell Trubisky will be the Week 1 starter, but Nick Foles will eventually take over, win them games. And I don't want to go the extra step and say, the Bears may make the playoffs, because they might. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that knowing that the Bears have a good defense and a good running game when they run the ball, which Matt Nagy forgets that running is an option sometimes. And also, if Matt Nagy can use Mitchell Trubisky's best ability is scrambling and take off and run and put his body on the line, then they can win football games. Their division is not as hard as it was last year. The Vikings are still good. The Packers are good. I don't think they're elite like they were last year. They didn't get better. Packers did not get better. And the Lions are still going to stink. So the Bears have a legitimate chance to win the NFC North. Do I think they will? No. Do they have a chance? Yes. But personally, there's no chance that they make a deep run. I mean, defense does win championships. But like I said, people want to put the blame on Mitch Trubisky for their terrible team last year. But if you look at the defense, they got worse. In 2018, they were top 5 in every single category. And I think they were number 2, if not number 1, in every other category defensively. This year, they were right around that 15, 16, 17, 18 mark. If you're lucky, 11, 10. So that defense got astronomically worse without losing talent. The only thing that really got to them was an injury to Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan being banged up. Other than that, they were perfectly healthy. And when Matt Nagy has a decent running game, an above-average running game, I'll give him that, with a guy that can also catch the ball in the backfield, and a decent O-line, why don't you run the football more effectively? Like, there'll be times where Matt Nagy forgets running as an option, like I mentioned previously. You have David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. You have a bruiser, David Montgomery. And then you have Tariq Cohen, who can do both. He can run out from the gun and take that inside zone and turn it into a 20-yard play, or he can dump it down. He could be a safety net, a screen guy, a utility guy, a flex. But yet Matt Nagy forgets they're on the roster. So when you're putting Mitchell Trubisky to make 40 throws a game, he is going to struggle. And then you turn around, and when you run the ball 20-plus times, you went 4-0 last year. Oh, my gosh, run the football. So I don't think Mitchell Trubisky should be blamed, and we're not talking about the Bears. We're talking about who will be more successful, Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky. I think Nick Foles will, because I think Matt Nagy will feel, okay, if we don't have a winning season, I'm going to get fired. I need to put Nick Foles, and hopefully we can win some games. But when they were 4-0 when they ran the ball 20-plus times last year, and there was a couple times where they ran the ball 40 times, and they blew out their opponent. I don't know who it was, but I just read the stat line. It was like 40-some times they blew the team out. And then the very next game, Mitchell Trubisky threw north of 30 attempts, or threw the ball north of 30 times. And they lost. And they only ran the ball, I think it was like 11 times, and their defense was gassed. So you can't blame the third-year quarterback. You just can't. I mean, that's like, in certain cases, if he was out there throwing 20 interceptions, 30 interceptions, yes. Obviously, when you turn the ball that many times, you should win Defensive Player of the Year, because you're helping that, like, you're literally being you're the best defensive player if you're throwing 30 interceptions like Jameis Winston. But you can't rely on that excuse forever, because if Nick Foles comes as a starter, there's no excuse. You can't blame Mitchell Trubisky no more, Bears fans, and then you have to run the football, actually. And because if you look what Nick Foles had in Philadelphia, he had Alshon Jeffrey, who was actually good that year. Nelson Aguilar, who knew how to catch the football then. Zach Ertz. And then that defense was very, very good. And they had a good running game of Jay Ajayi, Wendell Smallwood, Josh Adams. I think LeGarrette Blount was on that team, yeah. So a stacked running game that worked in 2017. And you could say considerably an easy NFC that year. But still, he had weapons. And then you look at the Bears team. There's a decent amount of weapons there. They have, 11 tight ends on the roster? Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham. That's like your Zach Ertz. And Dallas Goedert wasn't on the team in 2017. He was a 2018 pick. I think Dallas Goedert, he was 2018 draft pick in the second round. So you have 2 tight ends that Jimmy Graham hopefully can revive his career, and Cole Kmet, who's the best tight end in the draft. And then you still got a little bit of receiving weapons. You don't have the Alshon Jeffrey, who was really good in 2017, who completely fell off the past 2 years. Nelson Aguilar, who forgot to catch the football after a 2017 season. And you have to go through that. But in long term, the first take way, Nick Foles will be a better quarterback for the Chicago Bears this year than Mitchell Trubisky will. But, I mean, that's not saying much because there's low expectations on Nick Foles. And there's a lot of expectations on Mitchell Trubisky. So I'm very excited to watch this preseason, not only because there's no football, no sports, but it's going to be a good one for every single team out there because every single team has high aspirations. And I think it's going to be really, really good for the Bears to test what they have. And if the Bears fans were right with Mitchell Trubisky, or maybe Pace was right about Trubisky, and Mitchell Trubisky becomes a stud this year like he did in 2018. So, I don't know. Leave your comments. Leave your first takes below. The next version of first take that I'll be doing is what was on yesterday. Is Jimmy Garoppolo a starting quarterback? So I'll be doing that one. I saw on first take, like I said 2 days ago. I saw this one yesterday. So I decided to do it today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're almost to 100 subscribers. Appreciate it.